I spent 67 days counting the minutes between your heartbeats on Instagram. Your silence made me a stalker of your digital exhales. While you thought you were creating space, I was creating spreadsheets, tracking your online activity like a forensic scientist, studying evidence of your life without me. Every hour you didn't text became another data point in my investigation of why I wasn't worth your words. Women have 6 psychological responses to being ignored that transform silence into obsession. I layer each behavior on top of the others until your indifference becomes my entire emotional world. Most men think ignoring a woman makes her lose interest. Really, it makes us lose our minds. Response number 1. Your silence turns into my private investigation. The moment you stop responding, I become a detective analyzing our entire relationship history. I don't just wonder why you're quiet. I build elaborate theories about your emotional state, your other relationships, your hidden feelings. Your absence gives my imagination unlimited space to create stories about what you're thinking. Day 2 of your silence, I screenshot our last conversation from Tuesday at 4:23 p.m. and analyze every word choice with my roommate Jessica. The way he said "sounds good" instead of "sounds great" means he's having doubts about us. We spend 73 minutes dissecting punctuation patterns like FBI profilers. Day 4, hour 18. I notice you've been active on Instagram, posting a story about your morning coffee at 8:47 a.m., liking your friend Mike's gym photo at 2:15 p.m. You can post publicly but can't text me privately. I screenshot everything and create a timeline of your social media activity to understand your priorities. Day 6, 11:34 p.m. I've memorized your texting patterns from the past 3 months. You usually respond within 47 minutes. It's been 6 days, 14 hours, and 26 minutes. I calculate the exact moment you decided to ignore me. Sunday evening at 7:08 p.m., after I mentioned wanting to meet your parents. Evolutionary psychology explains this as hypervigilance activation. When uncertain about relationship status, the brain increases analysis and pattern recognition to assess threat levels. Your silence doesn't make me forget you. It makes me study you like my life depends on understanding why you've disappeared. Every hour without contact becomes another clue in the mystery of what I did wrong. My neck muscles stay tense for 4 days straight from constantly checking my phone and looking over my shoulder, expecting you to materialize with an explanation. Yet the obsession deepens with each passing hour. Response number 2. I start creating elaborate scenarios about your life without me. Your absence becomes a blank canvas where I paint increasingly dramatic pictures of what you're doing instead of talking to me. I don't just miss you. I construct entire alternative realities where you're living your best life while I'm suffering. Week 1, day 9. I imagine you're at that rooftop bar in Williamsburg with someone more interesting than me. She probably laughs at your jokes differently, doesn't ask complicated questions about feelings, makes everything effortless. I spend 49 minutes on Yelp reading reviews of bars you might be at. Week 2, Thursday morning. I create a detailed fantasy where you've realized you're better off without my emotional intensity. You're probably telling your friends how peaceful it is not dealing with my need for constant communication. I practice conversations where I'm cool and unbothered, but my voice shakes for 37 minutes during these imaginary exchanges. Week 2, Saturday night. I convince myself you're out having the most fun you've had in months because you're free from my expectations. I picture you laughing with people who don't require emotional availability, dancing without someone analyzing your every move. I order Thai food and eat it while stalking the locations of every person who likes your Instagram posts. Cognitive scientists document this as narrative elaboration under uncertainty. The brain fills information gaps with increasingly complex stories to create the illusion of understanding. Your silence becomes my screenplay. I write entire movies about your happiness without me, starring myself as the complication you escaped. The less I know about your reality, the more convinced I become that your imaginary life is better than anything we had together. I develop insomnia for 8 nights, lying awake from 2:17 a.m. to 5:43 a.m., writing mental scripts of your freedom while I'm trapped in obsession. If you're watching this because someone's silence has driven you to obsession, subscribe now. The psychological responses I'm about to reveal show how ignoring someone can become the cruelest form of control. This fantasy creation leads to something more dangerous. Response number 3. I begin reconstructing our entire relationship to find the exact moment I ruined everything. Your silence makes me a forensic analyst of every interaction we've ever had. I don't just replay our last conversation. I examine 3 months of text exchanges, looking for the precise second you decided I was too much. Week 3, day 16. I scroll through 847 text messages we've exchanged since January, looking for patterns in your response times. When did your replies go from 30 seconds to 3 hours? I create a spreadsheet tracking your enthusiasm levels. Enthusiastic before February 14th. Neutral, February 15th to March 2nd. Distant, March 3rd, present. Week 3, day 21. I remember that time I asked you about your ex-girlfriend Emma during dinner at that Mexican place on Houston Street. Your face changed for exactly 4 seconds. I now believe this was the beginning of the end. I spent 2 hours and 16 minutes analyzing whether my jealousy revealed some fundamental flaw in my character. Week 4, day 25. I've convinced myself that my vulnerability about my anxiety was the breaking point. When I told you about my panic attacks at 2:47 a.m. on March 8th, you responded with, "That sounds really hard," instead of, "I'm here for you." I replay this conversation 73 times, each time finding new evidence of your emotional withdrawal from the world you think I live in. Social psychology documents this as retrospective threat scanning, searching past interactions for warning signs when current relationship status becomes ambiguous. Your silence transforms me into an archaeologist digging through the ruins of our connection, looking for the artifact that explains everything. I don't just analyze what went wrong. I become convinced I can solve the mystery and fix whatever I broke. Every memory becomes evidence in the case of why you're gone, and I'm both the detective and the primary suspect. My jaw aches for 5 days from clenching my teeth while mentally cross-examining every conversation we've ever had. And I have to sleep with a mouth guard because I grind my teeth through nightmares about your silence. Write me in the comments if you've ever become obsessed with someone's digital activity while they ignored you. Watch my video. She says just friends, but still needs your energy. To understand how women use analysis to cope with emotional uncertainty. The psychological response I'm about to reveal shows how desperate we become for any form of contact. But the psychological response escalates beyond analysis. Response number 4. I start testing whether you care by creating situations that might make you respond. Your silence becomes a challenge I need to solve through strategic emotional manipulation. I don't just wait for you to contact me. I engineer scenarios designed to trigger your attention. Week 5, Day 31. I post an Instagram story of me looking happy at brunch with my friends, laughing at something off camera. I position my phone so you can see I'm having fun without you. I check who viewed it 17 times in 4 hours. You haven't looked. I delete it and post another one where I look slightly less happy, more accessible. Week 5, Day 34, 11:52 p.m. I text you, "Hey, I think I left my gray scarf at your place," knowing perfectly well my gray scarf is hanging in my closet. I'm testing whether practical matters will bypass your emotional silence. You respond after 14 hours. "Don't think so, but I'll check." 3 words. I analyze them for 46 minutes. Week 6, Day 38. I have my friend Rachel text me at 10:23 p.m. when I know you'll see my phone light up if you're thinking about me. I want you to wonder who's texting me late at night, what other attention I'm receiving while you're withholding yours. I spend the evening at places you might be, hoping to accidentally run into you. Behavioral studies reveal this as proximity seeking through indirect contact, attempting to reestablish connection without appearing desperate while simultaneously appearing desirable to others. Your silence turns me into a strategist, carefully planning moves designed to make you remember why you wanted me in the first place. I don't just miss you. I try to make you miss me by becoming the version of myself I think you'd regret losing. Every action becomes calculated to penetrate your indifference and prove that I matter enough to warrant a response. I lose 6 pounds in 2 weeks because I'm too anxious to eat regular meals, surviving on coffee and the adrenaline of executing my attention-seeking strategies. This strategic manipulation evolves into something more desperate. Response number 5. I begin offering pieces of myself I've never given anyone, hoping one of them will be enough to earn your attention back. Your silence makes me auction off parts of my identity to see what might be valuable enough to make you respond. I don't just want you back. I start becoming whoever I think you'd prefer over the person you're currently ignoring. Week 7, Day 46. I text you a vulnerable confession about my childhood fear of abandonment, something I've never told anyone. I know you need space, but I wanted you to understand why I get anxious when people disappear. I'm offering my deepest wound as payment for your acknowledgement. You read it, but don't respond. I feel simultaneously exposed and invisible. Week 7, Day 49. I send you photos of me doing things I know you find attractive. Rock climbing at Brooklyn boulders, I hate heights. Reading Hemingway at a coffee shop, I prefer romance novels. Volunteering at an animal shelter, I'm allergic to cats. I'm performing a version of myself designed to recapture your interest. Each photo is a bid for your approval. Week 8, Day 52. I write you a 3-paragraph apology for being too intense and promise to be more chill if you'll just talk to me. I'm literally negotiating away parts of my personality in exchange for your presence. I offer to need you less, feel less, be less, if it means you'll stay more in a world where love that looks different from what you expect might finally be enough. Attachment research identifies this as self-modification under abandonment threat, altering core identity characteristics to prevent loss of significant relationships. Your silence doesn't just make me want you, it makes me willing to stop being me if that's what it takes to keep you. I start viewing myself through your eyes, judging every thought and feeling based on whether it might be the reason you're gone. I become my own harshest critic, editing out any part of myself that might be too much, too needy, too human. My sense of self becomes so fluid that I wake up each morning unsure which version of me to be, hoping today's performance will finally break through your wall of indifference. Finally, The silence creates the most dangerous response. Response number 6. I convince myself that your silence is actually a form of communication. Your absence becomes a language I learn to speak fluently, finding meaning in every non-response. I don't just accept your silence. I transform it into proof that you care too much to risk talking to me. Week 9, day 58. I decide that your silence means you're protecting both of us from a conversation that would change everything. You're not ignoring me. You're creating space for us to figure out our feelings without pressure. Your discipline in not responding proves how seriously you take what we have. Week 9, day 61. I interpret your Instagram activity as secret messages. When you post a song lyric about missing someone at 11:47 p.m., I'm convinced it's about me. When you like your friend Sarah's post about patience, you're telling me to wait. When you don't post anything for 2 days, you're thinking about me too intensely to function normally. Week 10, day 67. I've created an entire mythology around your silence. You're the strong one, maintaining boundaries while I'm falling apart. You're showing me what love looks like when it's not desperate. You're teaching me to value myself by making me work for your attention. Your silence becomes my spiritual practice. Therapeutic literature defines this as meaning-making under relational ambiguity, creating coherent narratives to explain rejection while maintaining attachment to the rejecting party. Your silence stops being punishment and becomes my religion. I worship the space you've created between us. I don't just wait for you to speak. I find God in your refusal to answer my prayers. Every day without contact becomes evidence of your strength, your wisdom, your deep care for what we could become if I can just learn to deserve you. I spend 3 months treating your indifference like a sacred text, finding new meanings in your absence until I'm more connected to the silence than I ever was to your voice. These 6 responses create a complete psychological transformation. These 6 psychological responses reveal the devastating truth about ignoring someone who feels deeply. Your silence doesn't make us stop caring. It makes us care with the intensity of someone trying to solve their own disappearance. We become detectives, screenwriters, archaeologists, strategists, performers, and finally, believers in a love that exists entirely in the space you've refused to fill. The more you ignore us, the more we feel everything. Your absence, our inadequacy, the weight of all the words you're not saying. Some women don't move on when you go silent. We move inward, creating entire emotional universes around the echo of your voice. Here's what I learned. Your silence taught me to love the idea of you more than I ever loved the reality of you. And that's the cruelest magic trick anyone can perform on a human heart. The psychology of ignoring someone isn't about creating distance. It's about creating obsession disguised as longing. Do I regret turning your silence into my obsession? Every single day. Do I understand why your absence felt more powerful than your presence? I'm still learning to face that truth. Can someone love you back into existence after you've made yourself disappear? That's the question that haunts me most. If you're currently using silence as a weapon, maybe you're not creating space. Maybe you're creating a prison where someone will spend months analyzing the bars you built out of your indifference. And maybe the power you feel from being missed isn't worth the damage you cause to someone who's still trying to solve the mystery of your care. But how do you know when silence is healing versus when it's harmful? How do you tell the difference between giving someone space and giving them reason to lose themselves in your absence? Those questions might not have clean answers. And perhaps that uncertainty is exactly what makes silence so dangerous. If you want to understand more about how women respond to emotional distance, watch my video. Here's why a woman pushes you away when she wants you most. That video will show you what happens when someone you care about starts disappearing before you do.